What if Atlantis Chapter 1, Awakening the Atlantis Myth. Hey there. So imagine this. What if the tales of Atlantis you've heard since forever are just the tip of the iceberg? Let's picture a world where Atlantis wasn't the only grand civilization that vanished without a trace, swallowed by time, oceans, or forests. It's exciting to think about, right? Let's dive into that thought journey. First off, okay. Many folks have heard about Atlantis, mainly because of the stories passed down through books and movies. There's something really magical about imagining a world that was so advanced and powerful that it could just disappear over time. But what if it wasn't standing all by itself in the middle of this giant mystery? Maybe, just maybe, there were other civilizations out there that were as wondrous, if not more so, than Atlantis. What if the Earth was scattered with such mysterious cities, each with its own story? Let's take a slow walk through this idea. You know how in those old maps, before everything was known, they used to draw dragons and say, "Here be monsters." It's kind of like that with these hidden worlds we're talking about. The Earth is vast and full of secrets. Imagine places that thrived with people who knew how to harness energies we can't even dream of now. Folks who were able to build cities in ways that defy our understanding of physics. Some folks think about the stories of Lemuria or Mu, these lands that some believe were as marvelous as the stories of Atlantis itself. And they, too, are said to have been lost beneath waves or hidden away from the eyes of history. Just picture this rich landscape of people building lives, nurturing communities, weaving myths, and then one day, poof, it all vanishes, leaving only shreds of stories and whispers on the winds. It's kind of like what happens when we forget about an old path in the woods. At first, it's there, clear and solid. But after a time, if no one goes down it, nature takes it back. Trees fall, the path becomes covered with plants and leaves, and soon you wouldn't know there ever was a path at all. Civilization can be like that too, don't you think? When time passes and things are lost, they become buried beneath layers of earth or hidden under the ocean's watchful waves. What makes these stories fascinating is the idea that people long ago might have lived with secrets to the universe. They might have had knowledge or technology, from ways of building or healing to possibly even ideas of traveling other realms, skies, or dimensions. Maybe they saw the world differently, knowing things that are lost to us now. It's like finding an ancient, colorful quilt, where each patch holds the tale of a people, a culture, a time that once was. And think about all those legends and myths from different places around the world. Do tales of incredible cities and places filled with wonders connect with this concept? They pepper cultures from South America to Asia, reflecting hints about lands drowned and cultures submerged. Considering all this, doesn't it make you wonder about what else history might have tucked away, waiting for a lucky dig or a curious mind? Imagine if somewhere, someone might suddenly unearth a piece of pottery or a strange, alien-looking structure, shedding light on these civilizations that lived and thrived before fading into the shadows of time. It's sometimes wild how much we don't know. People often say history tells the story of the victors, but maybe there are events, places, and people it simply forgot or lost because they either disappeared mysteriously or left traces so faint only the universe itself knows their secrets. And in stirring these thoughts, we find magic and possibility, which are powerful things. They inspire us to reach beyond what we see every day. Who knows, maybe in schools one day, kids will learn of cities not just of Rome, Athens, or Byzantium, but also others, that emerge from hidden depths or mysterious jungles, shining with newfound light. Go out, get curious, and let ideas dance in your mind. History might be more than what we know. It might be an endless palette of forgotten truths waiting to be found. Don't you think that makes the world a bit more enchanting, knowing there could be more stories layered beneath our feet or off the distant seas? In thinking of these possibly lost worlds, it feels as though there are infinite pathways for us to explore. The possibilities are endless. As time moves, new stories will surface, and maybe, just maybe, one day, we'll find more pieces of that ancient puzzle. Until then, let's keep our minds wide open, looking out into the world, and dreaming of what could have been. Asterisk, Chapter 2, Beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Long ago, before people wrote everything down or had fancy gadgets, there were many incredible civilizations. We often hear about Atlantis, the city that sank into the ocean. But what if I told you there were more forgotten places out there? Today, we're going on a journey far beyond where most maps end, past what the ancient Greeks called the Pillars of Hercules. It sounds mysterious, doesn't it? These pillars were like the edge of the known world back then, marking the entrance to the vast, mysterious Atlantic Ocean, beyond which lay many secrets. So, let's pack our bags and set sail on this imaginary adventure. Picture yourself on a sturdy wooden ship with big sails. The sea is sparkling under the bright sun, and the wind pushes us forward. We're heading west, leaving the shores of what today we call Europe and Africa, aiming for the unknown. Now, imagine a land hidden by mist, where lush forests whisper ancient tales and rivers sing songs of times long past. This isn't just one land. Oh no, it's a cluster of islands and lands that history has almost forgotten. Here, civilizations rose and fell, leaving behind only echoes carried by the winds. These lands once thrived in their own unique brilliance. There were people who built towering sculptures and crafted tools that were quite ahead of their time. They used materials from the earth and created vibrant art that spoke stories without using words. Some of their buildings were so grand, it seemed they touched the sky. Others were small but full of character, painted in bright colors and adorned with intricate carvings of animals and heroes long forgotten. In one part of these lands, there was a place known for music. The people here didn't only make instruments from wood and strings. They played with stones and even used the sounds of the wind by constructing tunnels that sang as air passed through. Music was everywhere. It was part of every celebration, every ritual, and even in their daily work. Not far from this musical place, there was a society of inventors. These people were curious about everything. They built machines powered by the sun and made boats that could glide silently across the water without a breeze. They understood the stars better than anyone else at that time, and some say they even spoke to the animals, sharing secrets of nature and weather. In another corner, there were wise storytellers. These were not your regular storytellers. They had the gift of sharing tales that were like time machines. Listening to them, you could feel the warmth of sunlit days in a long-lost paradise or the cold shivers of a forgotten winter's night. Their stories lived long in the hearts and minds of their people, passed down from one generation to the next. Beyond the inventors and storytellers, there were healers who could use plants and herbs in ways that seem magical even today. They knew how to mix leaves and roots to cure sickness and heal wounds. People traveled from far and wide to learn from these healers, hoping to take their wisdom back home. You might wonder how these amazing places disappeared. It's a good question with no simple answer. Perhaps it was a great earthquake, or a terrible storm. Maybe it was the rising seas, or a series of events that led people to leave, searching for new homes. Over time, the world changed, and so did these lands. As the years turned into centuries, the memory of these civilizations faded. The places themselves became overgrown with forests, hidden beneath layers of earth, or swallowed by the ocean. But not everything was lost. Bits and pieces of their stories survived, carried in the whispers of the wind, or discovered by curious explorers daring to look where others hadn't. Ancient travelers spoke of wondrous lands past the Great Sea, sparking ideas and dreams in young adventurers and scholars around the world. These murmurs of the past inspired new tales and encouraged people to dream big. Maybe Atlantis wasn't alone in its fate. Maybe there are still other mysteries waiting to be found out there, ready to remind us of the vibrant life and knowledge that once flourished before fading into legend. The truth about these civilizations is layered and complex, just as our understanding of the world grows more intricate each day. The idea that we might rediscover what we once thought lost fills us with hope and wonder. There's always something more to learn, always another story to hear, and maybe, just maybe, one day we will finally uncover what's been waiting for us, beneath the waves and within the earth, completing the picture of our shared history. Until then, we can keep adventuring in our minds and hold on to the belief that these places, these people, still live on in some small way through the stories we share. Chapter 3: Echoes of Lemuria. You know, there's something truly fascinating about the idea of lost civilizations. For hundreds, maybe even thousands of years, people have been captivated by legends of places like Atlantis. But what if that was just one of many such civilizations that existed long ago? What if these ancient cultures vanished, leaving only whispers and tales behind? There's one such place that some people talk about. It's not as famous as Atlantis, but still quite intriguing. They call it Lemuria, and it's believed to have been a vast continent that stretched across what is now the Indian Ocean. According to stories, Lemuria was a land of beauty and wonder, filled with lush landscapes, exotic animals, and advanced beings. Imagine a place where the hills were green and endless, the oceans shimmered like liquid crystals, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of flowers all year round. In this mythical land, it said that the people were not just smart, but wise in a different sort of way. They lived in harmony with nature, unlike our modern approach, where we sometimes take more than we give. Those who lived in Lemuria are described as having a deep respect for the world around them. They believed that every tree, plant, and creature was a part of a larger whole, all connected and interdependent. Listening to the old tales, one gets the sense that they understood things we might have forgotten. Folks who talk about Lemuria often wonder what kind of society it must have had. Some say it was a peaceful place, a bit of a paradise where disputes were rare and kindness was common. Wouldn't that be something? A whole land where people got along more times than not. They likely had their own form of language, art, and maybe even music that echoed through the valleys and hills. The songs might have told stories of love and adventure, triumph, and maybe a little bit of loss, just like songs today. There's another interesting thing about this place. People say they were deeply spiritual, believing in ideas that might sound familiar to some folks now, like the balance between body and spirit. They thought every person, animal, plant, and rock had a spirit or soul, and they focused on living in harmony with that truth. In their temples and sacred places, they probably gathered to meditate or simply think about life and the universe, searching for deeper understanding and peace within themselves. But here comes the intriguing part. Just like Atlantis, Lemuria is said to have disappeared one day. Gone. Was it a great flood that washed it away? Or maybe the land trembled and sank into the sea? The stories are never quite clear, which gives them a kind of magic. They leave just enough room for imagination to take over. Sometimes, when tales are passed down from generation to generation, the details get fuzzy and grow larger than life. This might be how it's happened with Lemuria. Who knows, right? The mystery of such places sometimes makes one wonder what it would be like if we could find evidence of them today. Imagine discovering an ancient tool or a piece of their art buried deep under the ocean. It would change the way we see our own past, wouldn't it? We might learn something new about ourselves and where we come from. People like to explore the possibility of lost lands because it speaks to the adventurous spirit in all of us. It tickles our curiosity and makes us think about life's bigger mysteries. Could there be truths hidden in these stories, waiting to be uncovered? Some folks spend their whole lives searching for signs of these lost places, poring over old maps, diving into deep waters, and exploring remote lands. Each time they share a little more of what they find or don't find, we get a tiny bit closer to understanding our world's history. And in the end, maybe it's not just about finding the evidence. It could simply be the dreams these stories inspire, the hope and wonder they invoke. These tales remind us of the beauty and fragility of life, how entire worlds could exist and vanish in the blink of an eye, and how important it is to cherish the places and people we have today. So, while we may never know everything about these ancient lands, and while Lemuria might always be a whisper from the past, the magic lies in the wondering, the dreaming, and the sharing of these stories. We continue to tell them because they reflect the hopes and fears of humanity in every age. Maybe, just maybe, within those whispered echoes, there is something truly timeless and precious. ***, Chapter 4, Secrets of Mu Unveiled. Long ago, when the world was a different place, there were many amazing civilizations. Some we've heard of, like Atlantis, a city that people often imagine. But what if Atlantis wasn't the only one? Imagine there were more, hidden and lost to time. One of these was the land of Mu. Now, Mu wasn't known to many. People did not talk about it like they did Atlantis. Maybe this is because it was so well hidden, not just by water, but by mystery, too. Stories say Mu was a large and beautiful place, so big that some even called it a continent. People there were skilled in many arts and sciences, and they lived in harmony with nature. The people of Mu were gentle and kind. They believed in living peacefully. Their daily life was simple, yet full of wisdom. Unlike other places where people might fight over land or treasure, in Mu, they shared everything. This way, no one had more than they needed, and no one had less than enough. Such balance made their civilization strong and joyous. In Mu, there were no kings or queens. Decisions weren't made by one powerful ruler. Instead, the elders, who were wise and fair, led by example. They taught the young ones how to read the signs of nature, like when to plant crops or when rain would come. This way, the people of Mu stayed closely connected to the earth and its cycles. The people had a special language, which wasn't written down but spoken with sounds and gestures. Through song and dance, they passed down tales and important knowledge, like how to make beautiful sculptures or how to carve boats that could ride the waves far and wide. This oral tradition kept their heritage alive from generation to generation. Their knowledge of the stars was unmatched. They built tall stone structures that aligned perfectly with the night sky. Some historians think these might have been early observatories where they watched the stars and learned the secrets of the universe. They believed that the stars were not just faraway lights, but guides that could tell them about life's mysteries. But why did Mu, this great civilization, vanish? Many stories speculate, and none of them are the same. Some say it sank into the ocean after a great earthquake that shattered the land. Others believe that a mighty volcanic eruption sent the once thriving civilization into chaos. Whatever the case, it's said that Mu disappeared almost overnight, leaving behind only whispers of its existence. Now and then, explorers and treasure hunters claim to find signs of Mu. They talk about strange stone statues under the sea, or odd symbols carved into rocks, but no one has proven these discoveries are truly linked to Mu. Still, these tales keep the dream alive, showing us that the desire to uncover this lost civilization is as strong as ever. When people picture Mu now, they often see a world full of color and light, with buildings shining under a bright sky. They imagine a soft breeze carrying the sound of music and laughter. It was a peaceful place, where every living being flourished, and every day was an adventure filled with learning and joy. The idea that Mu might have existed alongside other lost lands like Atlantis makes us think about history in a new way. It reminds us that our world was once graced by many cultures, each with their own wisdom and way of life. Some trace their roots back to these ancient places and wonder if the spirits of Mu live on within them. Maybe we can learn from these stories. We can strive for the harmony and balance that the people of Mu had. We can choose kindness and understanding over conflict. If we remember these forgotten lands as they once were, perhaps we can build a future that is as bright and hopeful as we can imagine, no matter where the truth lies. The tale of this mysterious place excites our curiosity and wonder, and maybe, just maybe, the secrets of lost civilizations like Mu and others remain to be discovered by those who look closely enough. Chapter 5: The Enigma of Thule. Long ago, people spoke about a place full of wonder and mystery. It was not just one land of marvels, like Atlantis, but one among many that were whispered about in hushed tones. This story is about a land far to the north, in icy waters and shrouded in myths. People called it Thule. It was a place that filled the dreams of those who heard tales about its strange and fascinating world. In ancient times, explorers sailed far and wide. They were eager to find new lands, to discover places spoken of in song and story. One such explorer was named Pythias. He was a Greek sailor, and he traveled farther than most dared. As he went north through the cold seas, he heard stories of a place even farther, where the sun never set in summer and the nights were endless and dark in winter. This place was said to be beyond the ice, where the world felt wild and untouched. As Pythias journeyed, he believed he found this mysterious land. When he returned, he spoke of it with wonder, telling tales of mountains made of ice, of endless daylight, and of an ocean where the sea seemed to churn like jelly. His words captured the imagination of all who listened. Yet Thule remained a riddle, wrapped in the cold embrace of the unknown. Through the ages, many wondered if this northern wonderland was real or a dream spun from mist and imagination. Some thought it might be at the edge of the world, a place where the earth met the sky, a realm beyond human reach. Others believed it was a land of wise people who lived in harmony with the harsh cold, a place where the mysteries of life and the universe were understood in ways lost to the rest of the world. The writings of Pytheas inspired many over the centuries. Maps were drawn with Thule marked in the far north, holding its place as a beacon for dreams and explorers' hopes. As time passed, different tales emerged, adding layers to the story of this frozen paradise. It was said there were great temples of ice there, where the people worshipped the stars. Some whispered that the secrets of Earth itself were stored in this faraway realm, hidden in crystal caves beneath the snow. But no one could ever say for sure. Stories passed from generation to generation, getting mixed with new myths and legends along the way. Travelers who tried to explore the northern seas brought back tales of strange creatures and seething waters. But still, nobody could prove the existence of this land beyond the known world. In the quiet of night, under starlit skies, people would sit by their hearths and let their imaginations roam free. What if Thule was real? Might it hold truths lost and forgotten by other lands, swept away by time and tide? Was it a place where the ancients kept all knowledge safe from those who could misuse it, a hidden library under eternal ice? In hearts full of wonder, the idea of Thule stood as a symbol of all that could be, of a world untainted by wars and human folly. Many wished for it to be more than a legend, hoping that somewhere out there, a world untouched by the hustle of modern life continued to exist in serene silence. In modern times, some scientists began to take an interest in the stories of old. They sent out expeditions with great ships and teams of researchers. What they found were lands of ice, full of natural beauty, home to creatures like seals and polar bears. They discovered mysteries of their own, like the amazing northern lights that danced across the sky, turning the heavens into a painting of colors. Even as science uncovered wonders in the polar regions, the legend of Thule continued to spark curiosity. It reminded people that there were still mysteries in the world worth exploring, truths yet to be uncovered, and stories as old as time waiting to be told. In the end, whether Thule was a real place or only a beautiful dream mattered little to those who loved its legend. Its enigma inspired countless adventurers and dreamers over the years, all seeking the magic of discovery, yearning for places where the impossible seemed possible. The world is full of myths like these, and perhaps it is the mystery that makes them so enchanting. Someday, if you find yourself looking at the horizon, watching the sky turn colors with the setting sun, remember that beyond what you see might lie tales yet unwritten, lands yet undiscovered. Let the stories of lost worlds like Atlantis, Lemuria, and Thule whisper to you of adventure, of days when the world was young and full of wonder, waiting for those brave enough to explore its secrets. Chapter 6, El Dorado, the Gilded Phantasm. Growing up, you may have heard whispering tales of hidden cities that lie buried under time's cloak. These stories tease us with their mystery, tempting the brave and curious to find them and discover their treasures. Long ago, another of these mysterious cities captured the imaginations of explorers and dreamers. A city so marvelously covered in gold that it seemed beyond belief. This city is said to have been full of incredible riches and wonders. It's called El Dorado, and its story has lured countless adventurers to search for it, even though it has yet to be found. The legend began with the indigenous people of South America, who spoke of a king so wealthy and powerful that he covered himself in gold dust during sacred ceremonies at Lake Guatavita. This king would reportedly bathe in the waters, washing away the gold dust and offering treasures to the gods. This story turned into tales of a city filled with gold, hidden somewhere in the vast landscapes of South America. The idea was in a city where gold was as common as stone and glittered in the sun. Can you imagine what it would have been like? The sun shining off countless surfaces of precious metal, making everything glow as if it was all on fire. When the Spanish explorers heard these stories, their dreams of fortune seemed just within reach. Spaniards, already famished for gold and riches from other exploits, found their imaginations sparked anew. They dreamed not just of wealth in their pockets, but of a city where streets and buildings were covered in gold, a place shivering in golden light. Some sought it as a way to gain glory and rise in power. Others chased it because they wanted adventure or simply could not resist the pull of such wondrous possibilities. These explorers started expeditions, brimming with hope and ambition. They waded through jungles, climbed steep mountains, and braved wild rivers with an undying optimism that just beyond the next bend, or the crest of a hill, lay the gilded place they sought. Many endured grueling conditions far from their homes, driven on by nothing more than whispered tales and their own thirst for discovery. They faced severe hardships, the searing heat of the jungle, dangerous animals, and the uncertainties of unknown lands. Frequently, these optimistic journeys ended in failure or tragedy. But hope is a stubborn thing, and more seekers continued to trail after shadows. Along the way, explorers discovered incredible things. Even if they were not the Golden City themselves, they encountered breathtaking landscapes and gave the world knowledge about lands and peoples previously unknown to Europe. These encounters were fraught with complexities and consequences. Differing cultures met, clashing atop one another, and lives were forever changed. Yet, the mystery persisted, and stories continued to spread, with new twists and turns making the idea of such a place even more irresistible. The question of why these tales endure is an interesting one. Many believe it's partly because such stories speak to our frequent longing for a paradise, a place where wealth and happiness come without toil. They capture our hope that somewhere out there, within our reach, lies a world that can make life as magical and rich as dreams. These stories also suggest that we, as humans, love a quest, whether or not we ever find the finish line. It's the journey and the challenges that tease our spirits into action over time. As with most mysteries, ideas about this city evolved. People began considering perhaps it was not even real in the literal sense, but a metaphor for something else. Maybe a place in our minds where we dream big and let our imaginations run free. You see, sometimes these grand stories help us look beyond the everyday and push us to see life itself as a journey, filled with adventures and discoveries even in the humdrum moments. It's about treasure hunting not just in lands far away but in our own lives and experiences. In many ways, it continues to be a reminder of our past and our ceaseless search for knowledge and wonder. So, even if the physical city remains hidden or possibly never existed at all, the legend is alive and thrives each time someone tells the story again. It shows us our shared yearning for magic and mystery, making us dream not only of gold but of understanding, of adventure, and of the glittering frontiers that wait beyond tomorrow's sunrise. So maybe the true Golden City is not somewhere far away, but within our hearts, where we venture bravely and cling to the hope of the marvelous, the imagined and the infinite, waiting to be found in some form or other, whenever we decide to look closely. Chapter 7. Brazil, the Vanishing Isle. Imagine a place that you hear about only in stories. It's a place so hidden that it's like a ghost, sometimes there, sometimes not. Today, we're talking about one of these amazing places that may have once existed, an island called Hybrazil. Like the story of Atlantis, Hybrazil is wrapped in mystery and legend. It's a fascinating tale of an island that was said to appear and vanish like a dream. Long ago, people whispered about an island off the coast of Ireland. They said it was covered in mist, hidden from ordinary sight. It was believed that this island showed itself to humans only once every 7 years. Some said it was a place full of wonders, maybe even magic. Imagine being a sailor on the rolling sea, when suddenly the fog lifts and you catch a glimpse of a lush, green island that seems to glow in the sunlight. It would be an amazing sight. Legends spoke of grand towers, beautiful cities, and treasure beyond belief. People who claimed to have landed there told stories of friendly inhabitants, advanced knowledge, and wealth like they had never seen. For many centuries, explorers tried to find this mystical place. Maps from the 14th and 15th centuries sometimes included Hybrazil, showing it as a round island with a river running down the middle. These early maps had a mix of real and mythical places. But for those who believed Hybrazil was as real as any land we know today, many adventurers set sail to uncover its secrets, hoping to find it and return as heroes. In the age of exploration, stories of places like Hybros captured imaginations. These aroused the curiosity of explorers who were always looking for new lands and the riches they could bring. Imagine their dreams of finding gold, exotic plants, and unknown marvels that could change all they knew about the world. Some sailors came back with tales of an island they believed was Hybrazil. One famous story is about a man named John Cabot, who was said to have found the island in 1497. However, like many great tales, details are sketchy, and the truth remains as foggy as the island's own legend. Some say he found nothing more than ocean and waves. Another fascinating account comes from 1674, when a sea captain named John Nisbet claimed that he not only saw the island but landed on it. He and his crew were said to have been greeted by a group of monks. These monks supposedly gave them gold and silver as gifts. They also warned the sailors not to disclose the island's exact location, perhaps to keep its mystical aura intact. With such stories, it's no wonder people clung to the hope of finding the island, imagining how it might hold the mysteries of how the world works or ways to make life easier. Some thought Hybrazil could be an advanced civilization with knowledge far beyond its time. This idea is much like the story of Atlantis, another lost city believed to hold secrets we have yet to discover. What if Hybrazil really was a place where people lived, built homes, and developed their own society, separate from the rest of the world? It sparks the imagination to wonder how they lived, what they knew, and how they remained hidden for so long. In another layer of intrigue, some stories tell of Hybrazil's connection to ancient celestial navigation, and how it could have been a center for this type of ancient wisdom. Maybe they had an understanding of the stars and seas that was so advanced, the island itself became a guardian of old knowledge. Sadly, as years passed, no one could find solid evidence of Hybrazil. The island slowly slipped from maps and settled into folklore, a ghost story of the sea. Some people believe it might have been a real place that was submerged due to natural changes, like rising sea levels or violent storms. Others suggest it is, and was, purely a product of imagination, a dream weaved from myths and the human longing for adventure and discovery. Today, some still seek out this legendary island, hoping it will show itself and offer a glimpse into a mysterious past. It stands out as a reminder of an era when vast, unexplored seas were full of possibilities, and when the world was much larger than the maps could capture. Think about how boring life would be if everything was known and nothing left to discover. These stories add a little magic to our reality and remind us of the mysteries yet to be unraveled. It's like finding an old treasure map and believing that, just maybe, the treasure is out there waiting to be found. In our world, much remains undiscovered. Stories like that of Brazil make us stop and think about what we know and what we still have to learn. They awaken the explorer in all of us, urging us to keep looking beyond the horizon. Just like the stories of other lost civilizations, the tale of this island leaves us with more questions than answers and asks us to imagine what could have been. So, while Brazil might only appear in stories now, it keeps open a door of excitement for future explorers and dreamers alike. Chapter 8: Arcadia, Myths and Migrations. You may have heard tales about Atlantis, the legendary city that vanished under the sea. Many people believe it was the most amazing place, full of advanced technology and people who were wise beyond their years. But what if I told you Atlantis wasn't the only legendary land to disappear from history? Yes, there were other places, just like Atlantis, where mysteries abound. One of these places was called Arcadia, and its story is fascinating. Arcadia was believed to be a calm and peaceful place, tucked away in valleys, surrounded by lush, green hills and mountains. Picture endless fields of grass, dotted with pure white sheep and shepherds, guiding their flocks under the warm sun. People often say the weather was just right, not too hot, not too cold. Gentle streams ran through tall trees, and the air always smelled fresh, like blossoms in springtime. You might say Arcadia was like a never-ending paradise, a place where people lived simple, happy lives. But just like with Atlantis, not everyone believed Arcadia was real. Some thought it was only a story to tell around the campfire, an ideal or dream, something to aspire to rather than an actual place. But there are clues and tales that suggest Arcadia was not just fantasy. The people of Arcadia, let's call them the Arcadians, were known for their close relationship with nature. They respected the land and all living things. They had these amazing myths about how nature came to be and how everything was connected. For example, they might have told tales about how the mountains were once giants who laid down to sleep, becoming stone over the centuries. Rivers were said to hold the spirits of great travelers who carved paths through valleys with their stories. Arcadians were skilled in arts and music, using simple tools to carve sculptures and creating melodies that resonated with the sounds of the world around them. It was said that their songs could heal the sick and even make plants grow faster. People from far-off places traveled to Arcadia just to listen and learn from them. Over time, challenges arose. The peaceful valleys of Arcadia were not untouched by change. Migration was a key part of their history, just as it is for many cultures. Seasons changed, and sometimes the land did not provide as much as it used to. People and animals moved in search of better lands or more resources. Sometimes explorers from other civilizations would arrive, seeking new lands to call home or trying to find new friends and trade opportunities as migrations took place. Some of these newcomers brought different ways of living, fresh ideas, and new hope. The mix of old and new shaped Arcadia, making it a richer, more diverse place. However, these migrations also brought challenges. Sometimes, newcomers clashed with the Arcadians over resources or land. disagreements would arise, and people had to find new ways to get along. These stories of migration are closely intertwined with Arcadian myths. Elders spoke of long journeys through hidden pathways in the mountains, guided by stars and spirits. They believed following these paths led them to new homes where they could continue their peaceful lives. Through these migrations, Arcadians believed they were connected to an even larger web of life and people beyond their valleys. Over countless years, the land of Arcadia slowly faded from history. Some say it was because of too much migration and change happening too quickly. Other historians argue the land simply couldn't sustain everyone as numbers grew and people spread further afield. Bit by bit, Arcadian culture became entwined with other cultures as people moved onward, taking their stories and traditions with them. Was Arcadia a real place? Could its people have really sung songs that healed the ill or carved sculptures that stood the test of time? We might never know for certain, much like the mystery of Atlantis itself. But what's important is the stories they left behind, scattered like leaves in a gentle breeze. They remind us of the importance of harmony with nature, the strength found in simplicity, and the courage to journey into the unknown. When you think about these stories, you might wonder if there's a bit of Arcadia around us still. Maybe in the beautiful, untouched corners of the world, or in the way communities come together to protect and love their land. Perhaps it's in the small acts of kindness you witness every day, the echoes of a time when people lived in gratitude for each rising sun and moonlit night. Wherever Arcadia went, its spirit lives on, much like those other legendary places, whispering to us through the ages. Chapter 9: The Sunderland Saga. Once upon a time, in a place that's mostly underwater now, there was a big land called Sunderland. Imagine a huge stretch of land with rolling hills, leafy jungles, and wide rivers. It was in what today we call Southeast Asia and included places like Borneo, Java, Sumatra, and the surrounding lands and seas. Back then, it wasn't just a bunch of islands, but a whole big, connected world. People lived their way before many other places were teeming with civilizations. They were smart folks, figuring out ways to live in harmony with nature. They understood the land and the sea alike, making the most of the fruits and animals around them. People say they were among the first to cultivate rice, which became such an important thing later in history. Rice fed whole communities and, in many ways, was the foundation for their thriving societies. Lots of animals roamed these lands: tiger, elephant, and creatures only found there. The inhabitants, learning from their surroundings, painted pictures of these animals on cave walls. They made tools from stones and bones left behind by bigger creatures. As they became skilled hunters and gatherers, they swapped stories by the firelight, tales that guided them as both warnings and legends for younger generations. These people were also clever builders. We think they built homes and other structures from wood and leaves, using materials found all around. Though these homes may not stand for long in the face of time, their traces lie beneath the shifting earth. The waters rising over thousands of years have hidden much from us, but the stories passed down through the ages tell us bits and pieces of their vibrant existence. You see, climates changed, as they do. Ice melted from the poles in great, big, thawing sheets, making sea levels rise higher and higher over many years. Slowly but surely, the vast land of Sunderland became smaller until it was mostly covered in water. The people watched as their world was reshaped, their fertile valleys and familiar paths swallowed by the encroaching ocean. Some of them stayed and clung tightly to the shrinking land, while others decided to journey away, searching for new homes. Those who left paddled across the vast waters in boats they'd crafted, traveling to new islands formed by former mountaintops. Each journey tried their courage, but they ventured bravely into the unknown. Settling in new places, they carried with them seeds of rice, tales of their ancestors, and their deep knowledge of the world on foreign shores. The wanderers shared their skills and stories. The sea that took their homeland became the path upon which they spread their ways and wisdoms far and wide. Over time, as they settled in neighboring lands, their stories changed and grew, mingling with the tales of the places they came to call home. We might wonder today how many glimpses of these stories trace back to some. Maybe those stone figures and whispered myths hold pieces of that sunken world. Could it be that those carved patterns and chants preserve memories of giants of the wild long washed away by the sea? In our own time, experiences, and stories, we stumble upon glimpses that link us back to these forgotten lands. The world, vast and interwoven, suggests that Sunderland left more than ghosts beneath the waves. It birthed parts of what we see as the roots of many modern-day cultures thriving in Southeast Asia and beyond. As we walk through jungles or stand on ocean shores where Sunderland's peaks still rise from the depths, we might consider how layers of time don't just hide history but enwreath us in its echoes. Exploring crests and caves, we might not only find ancient carvings or shards of pottery, but a tactile bridge back to those rich, verdant days of sun-drenched glory. This world, always enduring and renewing, holds stories in its heart for those who care to listen. And who knows? Despite the water's vast blanket, one day, could there be more uncovered secrets of Sunderland beneath the silt and the waves, waiting for those curious minds to rediscover? They linger there, whispering in sunken breaths of the land that once was, inviting us to imagine and remember. All it takes is listening, truly listening, to the deep hum of history swirling through our place in the world today. Chapter 10. A tapestry of forgotten kingdoms. Imagine a world where whole empires vanished, leaving only whispers of their greatness scattered across continents. Picture sunken cities, lost treasures, and secrets waiting beneath waves and sands, hidden for centuries, calling out to the curious hearts who yearn to unlock their mysteries. In this world, Atlantis is not alone. It's just one star in the vast night sky of forgotten places, each with its own story, shimmering brilliantly before fading into the background of time. The idea that other lost kingdoms might have existed alongside Atlantis spins a tale rich with wonder and endless possibilities. These vanished lands are like lost chapters from the world's history book, each with untold wealth, wisdom, and wonders. As we journey through this tapestry of ancient splendor, our minds drift to times and places where everything was different, for better or worse. Take, for instance, an island kingdom, perhaps known only from whispers shared in ancient mariner tales, nestled in the heart of a remote ocean, a land where people lived in harmony with nature, building homes from coral and using the ocean's bounty to thrive. Their society was a model for peace, with chiefs who governed through kindness and counsel rather than force. But one day, after centuries of prosperity, they encountered disasters: volcanoes, earthquakes, terrible storms, and their island was swallowed by the ocean, disappearing beneath the waves. Some say a great sea creature swallowed it whole, leaving behind nothing but stories in another part of the world. Surrounded by dense jungle, there might have been a grand city paved with stones that sparkled under the sun. Here was a civilization that mapped stars, kept intricate records of their history, and measured time with remarkable precision using massive stone circles akin to clock faces of the heavens. But as the years wore on, their knowledge fell into mystery. Some say disease hit. Others claim they outgrew their resources or perhaps simply walked away, leaving their temples to be swallowed by the vines and roots that hug the earth's surface. As explorers walk the forests today, they sometimes stumble upon a stone or two and wonder what great stories have vanished into the hum of insects and rustle of leaves. Far to the north, where chilly winds nip at any exposed skin, we could imagine another grand empire deep in the frozen tundra. A civilization living amidst snow and ice, trading in mammoth bones and precious stones. They cultivated warmth through the creation of intricate woven tapestries and sheltered themselves in wondrous ice structures that glistened like diamonds under the pale northern sun. As the climate changed, they too faded, their legacy merging with the snowdrifts, seen only in the occasional glint of a carving found in the meltwaters each spring. Perhaps somewhere at the base of a great mountain range, mighty guardians that touched the sky lay another kingdom, hidden by imposing cliffs and roaring rivers. They were a people who spoke to the stones, building massive observatories to understand the voices of the stars. Their rituals harmonized with the cycles of the earth, bridging the gap between the mundane and the divine. Yet, over time, many of their structures crumbled, and cosmopolitan city centers gave way to an echo of greatness. Buried beneath the landslides and the shroud of nature's grasp. And let's not forget those who lived in valleys untouched by time, with people who harnessed the wind and the waters to power great inventions. They carved secrets into crystal and embedded technologies in the fabric of their daily lives. Their advances are marvel even by today's standards. A sudden sandstorm or an unwelcomed invasion could have turned their bustling cities to mere legends. The knowledge lost to the biting breath of desert winds. Each of these kingdoms adds a thread to our tapestry, threads of light, knowledge, and incredible feats that, though hidden by the sands of time, still shimmer faintly to those who look closely enough. We wonder at their achievements, spellbound by what might have been. Their echoing triumphs and tragedies are clues left behind for those adventurous enough to seek their stories. Remnants of temples, shards of pottery, and fragments from the lives they led offer puzzle pieces to a global legend that historians and dreamers continue to build. In exploring these realms of the forgotten, we are reminded of our world's ever-changing face, nature's quiet persistence, and mankind's eternal quest to leave a mark on history's canvas. Perhaps these old civilizations laugh at us kindly from the past, urging today's world to not repeat their mistakes, but to cherish the beauty and ingenuity born from the cyclical dance of creation and decline. Their stories, woven with ours, enrich the fabric of humanity, encouraging us to seek, remember, and learn. The tales of these lost places hum softly beneath our feet and ripple across the oceans. Their presence suggests that though time may pass, their stories might never truly die. For as long as there are those who imagine, the whispering winds will carry tales of these realms, illuminating the past and inspiring our future in countless, unforeseen ways.